This is a guided walkthrough for TryHackMe Advent of Cyber, Day 17. The theme of today's exercise is log analysis, and the title of today's exercise is He Analyzed and Analyzed Till His Analyzer Was Sore. Okay, all right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go through the story for today's exercise, and then we're going to do the exercise. All right, so let's get started. So the background story, an attack now it seems on the town CCTV. There's a problem with the logs, but what could it be? An idea put forward in a log format switch, not as expected, the idea of the glitch. Background story. Marta Mayware is going crazy. Someone has disconnected the main server from the Wareville network, and nobody knows who it is. As soon as she realized it, she contacted Wareville's top physical security company, WareSec and Aware, to let her view the data center's CCTV streams. They forbade it entirely for privacy reasons. Only the camera owner can view the recordings. Not even when the WareSec and Aware employees themselves are allowed to do so. Still, they said there was no recording of anybody entering the data center yesterday. How could it be? How could that be? Wondered Marta May, desperate for answers. Their first supposition was that the owner of the camera must have deleted the recordings from their managing webpage. But the data center's camera owner surely can't be the perpetrator. It is no other than Byte, Glitch's dog. Glitch insisted with Marta to leave the ownership of the cameras to Byte precisely to avoid these kind of happenings. Byte, the ultimate good boy, combines loyalty and sharp instincts to keep any place safe. Marta May calls Glitch and McSkitty right away, explaining the situation in between the sobs. Glitch's eyes darken. Someone is trying to frame Byte, and he will not let anybody vex his beautiful dog. McSkitty is perplexed. Why are people at WareSec and Aware supposing that Byte had deleted the recordings? Surely they have some logs to prove such an accusation. Marta May has the answer. They do have some log files that they back up every 6 hours, give or take. But they can't search through it, or rather, they tried. But when they go and search for some keyword like the data center's cameras IDs or the action delete, this is what they got. Unreadable. McSkitty shakes her head. They must immediately send the log file to the SOC team. Armed with the SIM, no log is unsearchable. All right, so let's talk about today's learning objectives. In this task, we will explore the following learning objectives while investigating the logs related to the incident scenario explained above. Learn how to extract custom fields in Splunk. Learn how to create a parser for custom logs. Filter and narrow down the search results for using Search Processing Language, SPL. And finally, how to investigate in Splunk. Connecting to the machine. Before moving forward, review the questions in the connection card below and start the virtual machine. Okay, so what we need to do first is we need to start the virtual machine over here. So we need to click on this button over here, Start Machine. And we see here that the connection card says, do I need to start a VM today? Yes. Is there a direct link available? Yes. So something they don't mention here is that we actually have to start the attack box. Because if we don't start the attack box, we won't be able to access the lab environment. So we're going to go up to the top of the page, and we're going to start the attack box. So at the very top of the TryHackMe webpage, we're going to click on this button over here, Start Attack Box. And that's going to start up the virtual machine that we're going to be using to interact with today's lesson. So this attack box machine here is what we're going to be using to interact with the website that we need to look at for today's lesson. It's going to take about 2 minutes to load up, but in the meantime, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at some of the other text that we need to read for today's lesson. Okay, so Once the machine is up and running, you can connect to the Splunk SIM by visiting this IPA right here in your browser. Okay, so we're just going to have to wait for this to spin up. And in the meantime, let's read up a little bit further. Investigation time. It's time to fire up Splunk, where the data has been pre-ingested for us to investigate the incident. Once the lab is connected, open up the link in the browser and click on Search and Reporting on the left. Okay, so we're going to have to wait a little bit for everything to load up. Okay, so now that the attack box has finished initializing over here, we're going to dismiss this terminal window over here by clicking into it and hitting the Enter key. After that, we can go ahead and copy this address right here, and we're going to be navigating to this address in the attack box's browser. So in the attack box, we need to start up the attack box's web browser. So we can just click on this button over here, Firefox web browser, and that's going to take a couple of seconds to load up. So in the meantime, we're going to need to click on this button over here to show the control bar for the attack box. Because we can't directly copy and paste from other places to the attack box, we need to use this control bar over here, and we need to paste into the attack box's clipboard like this. After we do that, you can close the clipboard by clicking on this button again, and then in the attack box web browser, click into it, and then paste, and then hit enter. So this is going to give us access to this Splunk web interface over here, and it's just going to take a moment or two to load up. So once the lab is connected, open up the link in the browser and click on Search and Reporting on the left. So we need to wait for this to load. It's still loading, it looks like, but we're going to see a screen that looks a lot like this in just a second. Okay, so it looks like the interface is a bit cramped. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. So I'm just going to do Control minus this keyboard shortcut to make everything a little bit smaller. All right, so we need to click on Search and Reporting. So click on that button, and then on the next page, type index equals star. Okay, we can do that. So inside the search bar over here, we're going to type index equals star, and then hit enter. And that's going to show all of the ingested logs. Note that we need to select all time as the time frame from the drop-down menu on the right of the search bar. Okay, so what that means is, I'm going to make this a little smaller. Okay, so now we can see that we've got the time frame over here. So it says last 24 hours. We need to click on this, and then we need to select all time. So this is all the time frame for the different logs. We need to select all time over here. Just click on it. Okay, and now we got all of the logs for this this particular set. Okay. All right, so after running the query, we will be presented with two separate data sets pre-ingested to Splunk. We can verify this by clicking on the source type field in the fields list on the left of the page. Okay, so on the left of the page, we can venture down a little bit, and we're going to click on this button over here, which is called source type. So we've got two different source types in here. We've got web logs and we've got CCTV logs. So these are the two different sources that these logs are coming from. Okay, two data sets are as follows. Web logs. This file contains events related to the web connections to and from the CCTV web server. And CCTV logs. This file contains information about the CCTV application access logs. So let's explore the logs and investigate the attack on our CCTV servers to identify the culprit, who got unauthorized access to the server and deleted the CCTV streams. So first we need to examine CCTV logs. First, let's start our investigation by examining the CCTV logs. To do so, we can either click on the corresponding value for the source type field or typing the following query in the search bar. So index equals star, source type equals CCTV logs. So we can actually just click on this button right here, and that's going to autofill it for us. So we see here that index equals star, source type equals CCTV logs. Great. So understanding the problem. After examining the logs, we can figure out the following main issues. Logs are not parsed properly by Splunk. Splunk does not consider the actual timeline of the event. Instead, it uses only the ingestion time. So to fix the problem, before analyzing and investigating the logs, we must extract the relevant fields for them and adjust the timestamp. The provided logs were generated from a custom log source, so Splunk could not parse the fields properly. Extract new field. Click on the Extract New Fields option located below the fields list on the left of the page. Okay, so we're looking at Extract New Field, so we need to scroll down a little bit. And there's going to be this option over here at the bottom. It's called Extract New Fields. So go ahead and click on that. And then we need to select Sample Event. We'll be presented with event logs that must be parsed properly. Though we can select any log, but in order to follow the steps mentioned below and avoid confusion, let's select the very first sample event and click on the green Next button at the top of the page. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to click on the first log, so we need to scroll down a little bit, and then click on the first log over here. And then we're going to click on the Next button over here. So after we click on this first event here, we click on the green Next button. Then we have to select the method. There are two options for extracting fields, using regular expressions and using delimiters. In this exercise, we will extract fields using regular expressions. Select this option, then click on the green Next button at the top of the page. Okay, so regular expression, we can click on this button here, and then we're going to click on the green Next button over here. Okay, now we need to select fields. Now, to select the fields in the log that we want to extract, we simply need to highlight them in the sample log. Splunk will auto-generate the regex, regular expression, to extract the selected field. Okay, so what we need to do first is we need to assign an appropriate name to each of the extracted fields based on the table below. Okay, so we need to do timestamp, event, user ID, username, and session ID. So the first thing we want to do is we want to select the entire date over here. So from 2024 up until 45, and we need to give the field a name. So we're going to type in timestamp for this field and click on the green button, Add Extraction. Okay, after that, we're going to highlight logout over here. And we're going to give this a field name. And the field name we're going to give this one is event. And then after that, we're going to click on the green Add Extraction button again. And then we're going to highlight the number 5. And for the number 5, we're going to give this field name user_ID and then Add Extraction. And then we're going to highlight the name byte. Oh, hold on. Okay, so I'm going to highlight the whole word byte. Okay, and after that, we're going to give this the user name field name. Okay, Add Extraction. And then we're going to highlight this series of numbers and letters up until the end. And we're going to call this field session_ID. Okay, so after that, click on Add Extraction. And now we have all of our fields selected and named. Great. So as evident from the previous section, by selecting the fields, Splunk creates a regular expression to extract that field from all the events. All the extracted fields will be displayed in the Preview tab as shown below. Okay, so let's go down, and we see that all of these different fields have been colored different colors. So we can guess that that Splunk will be able to extract these different logs. It is important to note that some of the logs may have a different format, and they may not be parsed using the parser we created above. We may have to re-extract the fields from those events. We will get back to fixing this issue later. We can click on each extracted field to check the extracted values. When we're satisfied with the extracted values, we can click on the green Next button at the top of the page. Okay, so let's see. So at the top of the page, we're going to click on the green Next button over here. All right, so after we've done that, validate. In the next step, we will see a green tick mark next to the sample logs to indicate the correct extraction of the fields, or a red cross sign to signal an incorrect pattern as shown below. So we see that most of the logs over here are correct, but there are a couple of logs that are not going to be interpreted properly. Okay, so save and analyze. So we need to click on the next button over here. After validating that the extracted fields are correct, the next step is saving and analyzing the logs. This tab shows us the regular expression created, the fields extracted, and the sample event that contains the fields we want to extract. Let's save this session by clicking on the green Finish button at the top of the page and move on to the Search tab to search the logs. Okay, so we're going to click on the green Finish button over here. And it says Success. Okay, that's great. To do so, we can click on the Explore the Fields I just created in Search link on the next page. So this is the link that we're talking about right here. So we just need to click on this. We can verify we successfully extracted the custom fields from the logs by clicking on any of the custom fields in the list on the left of the page. Okay, so the reason why we don't see anything here is because the time frame has reverted back to last 24 hours. And what we need to do is we need to click on this again and then select all time. Okay, so now we've got all of our logs back. Great. For example, if we click on the username field, we'll be presented with all the different values that have been extracted from the logs for this field. Okay, so we need to click on username. Okay, so over here, there's the username field. We can click on it. And we see that all the different values for username that are in the logs. So there's byte, software, glitch, Marta, malware, freeware, hardware. Great, that's great. So it also appears some fields have not been parsed exactly as we have expected. Okay, so we need to improve the field extraction. As previously mentioned, some of the logs are a bit different from the ones we used as a baseline for field extraction. Some of the log formats that our parser could not pick out are mentioned below. Okay, so we've got this one and this one over here. It is important to note that there can be various ways to achieve our goal of fixing the parser. We will try one of the methods as covered in steps below. So removing the fields extraction. Let's go to Settings, Fields as shown below. Okay, so we're going to go to the top of the page over here, and we're going to click on Settings over here, and from there we're going to click on the Fields button over here. So after we do that, Field Extraction. Click on the Field Extraction tab. It will display all the fields extracted. Okay, so we're going to click on this tab over here, Field Extractions. We need to delete the regex pattern. This tab will display all the patterns and fields extracted so far in Splunk. We can look for the CCTV related pattern in the list, or simply search CCTV in the search bar. Okay, so here we're going to click on this filter search field. We're going to type in CCTV and then hit enter. Okay, so this is what we're looking for over here. And it will display our recently created pattern. Once the right pattern is selected, click on the delete button as shown below. Okay, so we need to click on this pattern over here, and then we need to click on the delete button. So the delete button is going to be over here on the right-hand side. You might need to use this scroll bar to access it. And we're going to click on the delete button over here. Are you sure you want to delete? We'll click OK. So why are we deleting this previously created pattern? Well, this regex picks fields from some of the logs and leaves behind other logs, which may be vital for our investigation. Our goal is to create one generic regular expression that works on almost all events. So we need to open filed extractor. Next, click on the open field extractor button again, and will take us to the same tab where we can extract the fields again. Okay, so open field extractor. So this is the button here. Click on it. And we need to update the regex. This time after selecting the right source type as CCTV logs. Okay, so source type. We're going to click on this button here. So data type, we need source type. So source type is going to be CCTV logs. Okay, so we need to go to custom, down to custom, and then over to CCTV logs. So go ahead and click on that. Whoops. So it's custom CCTV logs. Okay. And time range as all time. Okay. So time range, we need to adjust this from time range. We need to go to presets, and we need to select all time over here. Okay, click on I prefer to write the regular expression myself. Okay, so where do we do that? Okay, we can click on this button. I prefer to write the regular expression myself. Okay, so in the next tab, enter the regex. Ooh, this big regex right here. So we're going to copy all of this up until the $sign here. We're going to copy it, and then in the control bar over here at the middle of the page, in the clipboard, we're going to get rid of whatever's in the clipboard there, paste in the big regex, and close out the clipboard with this button here. In the regular expression field over here, click into it and paste in the regular expression, and then select preview. Okay, so click on preview. This regex will fix the field parsing pattern and extract all needed fields from the logs. Hit save, and on the next page, select finish. Okay, so we're going to click on save, and on the next page, we're going to select finish over here. Okay. So on the next page, once again, click on the explore the fields I just created in the search. So this button right here, click on that. Now that we can observe that all the fields are being extracted as we wanted, let's start investigating the logs. So investigating the CCTV footage logs. Now that we've sanitized and properly parsed the logs, it's time to examine them and find the culprit. Summary of the CCTV feed. After examining the CCTV feed logs, we can create a mental picture of the information these logs can provide us. A brief summary of these logs is: these logs contain the successful and failed login attempts from various users. They contain a few failed login attempts which look suspicious. They contain information about CCTV footage being watched and downloaded. So event count by each user. Let's use the following search query to see the count of events by each user. So index equals CCTV feed. Okay, so this command right here. So this search query rather. We're going to copy this, and then we're going to copy this to our clipboard once again. Okay. After that, in the new search over here, we're going to click into everything. Oh, this switched back to 24 hours again. We're going to need to switch this from 24 hours to all time one more time. Okay, so after that, we're going to select in new search, delete the old one, paste in the new one, and then hit enter. We can easily visualize this data by first clicking on the visualization below the search bar and change the visualization type from bar chart to pie chart. Okay, so in visualization over here, click on that. We're going to switch this from bar chart and so click on bar chart and then select pie chart over here. Okay. Summary of the event count. We can create a summary of the event count to see which activities were captured in the logs using the following query. So index equals CCTV feed, stats count by event. So we're just going to adjust the search bar over here. Okay, so it's going to be stats count by event, and then hit enter. Splunk will automatically display the previously selected pie chart and a pie chart type of visualization. Okay, so we've got the pie chart over here. Examining rare events. Using the following search query, let's look at the events with fewer occurrences in the event field to see if we can find something interesting. So this is going to be index CCTV feed, rare event. Okay, so over here, we can just adjust this. So instead of stats count by event, we're just going to use rare event and then hit enter. Okay, so we see that we've got some rare events, including stuff like delete recording over here. This might be important later. It looks like we have a few attempts to delete the recording and a few failed login attempts. This means we have a clue. Let's examine the failed login attempts first. Okay, so CCTV feed failed. Okay, so I think we might be able to just type this in. So CCTV feed and then star failed star, and then pipe that into table underscore time username event session underscore ID, and then hit enter. Okay, so visualization doesn't work, but I think we need to click on the events tab over here. So after that, we can see some failed events over here. Okay, so we found some failed login attempts against 4 users, but one thing remains constant, the session ID. So narrowing down our investigation. Let's narrow down our results to see what other events are associated with this session ID. So we're going to do CCTV put session ID here, table username event session ID. So I think, CCTV feed put session ID here. All right, so I'm going to copy this. And then we're going to paste it into the clipboard as usual, and then close the clipboard. In here, I'm going to highlight everything and delete it, and then I'm going to paste in. And we need to change the session ID. So the session ID is this one right here. So what we need to do is we need to highlight this and copy it. And after that, we need to go back up to the search field over here. And in the place of put session ID here, including the asterisks, just highlight all of it and then paste in the session ID. Okay, after that, hit enter. And that's what we want. So let's see how many events related to the deletion of CCTV footage were captured. So index equals CCTV feed delete. So we can highlight everything here. And then inside of the asterisks, we're going to put in delete and then hit enter. So we've got a couple of logs over here, delete recording, and these are 2 separate events. Good, we have some comprehensive information about this attacker and his nefarious activities, correlation with the web logs. Let's use the information extracted from the early investigation and correlate it with the web logs. Suspicious IP address. During the examination, it is observed that only one IP address, this one over here, is associated with the suspicious session ID. Identify the footprint associated with the session ID by doing this. So web logs, and it's going to be the session ID over here.
So we can just highlight this, copy it, and then as usual, in the clipboard, replace whatever's in the clipboard, then scroll up, and then in the search field, highlight everything and paste in what's in the clipboard. And we see here all of the web logs that are associated with this session ID here. It looks like we have quite a few, so we're going to have to look through them. So let's narrow down the search to show results associated with the IP address found earlier. It is also important to note that, in this case, the details about the session IDs are found in the field status. Okay, so status over here, let's navigate down and then click on status. Okay, so the values are this session ID here, and we've got count 41, okay? So it looks like 2 more session IDs were associated with an IP address found earlier. Let's create a search to observe what kind of activities were captured associated with these IPs and these session IDs. All right, so timetable client IP stats URI, okay? So let's highlight all of this, copy, and then as usual in the clipboard, we're going to replace. Then we're going to scroll up, and in the search field here, replace everything here with what we just pasted into the clipboard, hit enter. Okay, so these are all of the logs that are associated with the client IP with this IP address over here. So looking closely, we can see logout events when the session ID was changed. Can we correlate these session IDs in our CCTV feeds log and see if we can find any evidence? So connecting the dots. Let's go back to the CCTV feed and use these session IDs associated with the IP address as shown below, okay? So it's CCTV feed and then this session ID right here. So we're going to highlight it all and copy it, and then we're going to put it in the clipboard, then close the clipboard, and then scroll back up in the search field, highlight everything, and replace it, hit enter. Okay, so we've got log out and log in, watch camera, so a bunch of different logs over here, and they're associated with this username right here called mmalware. Interesting. So great, we were able to locate the username associated with the attack. Now that we have identified the user, let's summarize our investigation. So from the output, it seems the following was the timeline of the attack. Attacker brute force attempt on several accounts. There was a successful login after failed attempts. Attacker watched some of the camera streams. Multiple camera streams were downloaded, followed by deletion of the CCTV footage. The web logs had an IP address associated with the attacker's session ID. We found 2 other session IDs associated with the IP address. We correlated back to the CCTV logs to find traces of any evidence revolving around those session IDs and found the name of the attacker. So to finish today's activity, we need to answer the questions below. So extract all the events from the CCTV feed logs. How many logs were captured associated with a successful login? Okay, so what we need to do here is we need to supply different search queries to get these answers. So for this first one, we need to do this over here. So it's going to be so index equals CCTV feed, and then pipe that into stats count by event, and then hit enter. So after that, hit enter. And then we can go over to our visualization. And in visualization here, we've got the pie chart, and we're looking for successful login. So here, login is successful. It says there are 642, so we're going to put that as our answer. It's going to be 642. Okay. The next question is, what is the session ID associated with the attacker who deleted the recording? So what we need to do here is we need to do in the search field here, it's going to be index equals CCTV underscore feed, and we need to put the word delete between these asterisks and then hit enter. Okay, so these are the events that are associated with the deleted recordings, and we see there is a user, a session ID over here, and it is this one right here. So we're going to highlight it, then copy it, and then we're going to go back to the clipboard. In the clipboard, we're going to copy this and then submit this as the answer, and then hit submit. Okay, and the last question we have to answer here is, what is the name of the attacker found in the logs who deleted the CCTV footage? So over here, we need to use this command over here. And this is the, we're searching for the session ID that we found from the web logs. And up here, we're just going to paste that in, hit enter. So remember, we got this session ID here from the web logs, and there's the username mmalware. So this is the name of the user that we are looking for. So what is the name of the attacker found in the logs? The name is mmalware. Malware. Hit submit. Okay, and we're almost done. So the very last thing we need to do to finish off this room is to check off these 2 points over here. Check out the Splunk data manipulation room to learn more about parsing and manipulating data in Splunk. Okay, so click on complete. And the last thing is, good thing we had a backup of the CCTV application from yesterday. We got it running again in no time. Okay, great. So go ahead and click on the complete button here. You will see the entire task turn green over here, which means we finished the task. Thank you very much for watching this guided walkthrough of TryHackMe's Advent of Cyber 2024 event, day number 17, and we'll see you next time.
Hey there, HackerFrogs! Are you enjoying this workshop? Learning new concepts and skills? If so, there's a way you can support the channel, and it's totally free. Just click on the subscribe button below the video. Also, click on the like button. And if you have questions or comments on this workshop, please leave them below the video. Thanks for listening. And now, back to our scheduled programming.